back to Unholy Alliance.
Unholy Alliance really comes out of my life experience with the left. The book sets up the problem the book attempts to solve, or the puzzle is. The radical Islamicists, the Islamo-fascists, if you will, are obviously anti-women, anti-gay, religious fundamentalists, and medievalists. I mean, they want to go back to a religion as it was set down in the 7th century. Yet, there is an alliance of convenience, if it were, yet you see progressives who claim to be motivated primarily by defense of women, of gays, human equality. Of course, Islam is a hierarchical religion with people outside, the infidels not counting for anything. How can people who claim to be progressive get out there and try to keep in power Saddam Hussein, or try to stop America from attempting to create democracy in Iraq? How can they, on campuses, if you look at the left-wing demonstrations against the war, you'll see that the Muslim Students Association is part of their steering committees. A Muslim Students Association is created by the Muslim Brotherhood, which is part of the jihad, the Islamic jihad against the West, and they are totalitarians. And everything that the left claims to be against. So how do you explain this? And that book is an attempt to explain this. And so the center of the book, the long center of the book, is called the Mind of the Left, something like that. And what I explain is that what forges this alliance is that the left is as I said, I think earlier, it's a form of religion. The left is it's the Pelagian heresy in Catholic history. Pelagius believed that human beings could create the kingdom of God on earth. Liberation theology is a form of this. That by human agency you can create a world in which there's equality and no wars and no poverty and so forth and so on. Who stands in the way of this? Well, of course, it's the United States. The left no longer really seriously never really did, for its kingdom of heaven on earth. There's no real plan of how to replace, say, the market system with something that would work better. It is a fantasy. It's a utopian dream. So what the left is focused on really is the other side of any revolution, which is the work of destruction. It's a nihilistic formation, the left. Its entire intellectual energy is focused on attacks on America, because America is the capitalist power that defends all the others. So the left and the Islamicists have a similar view of America. It's the great Satan. The Islamicists call it the near enemy is the Mubarak regime, the regime in Saudi Arabia, and the far enemy is the United States. And they began by attacking the near enemy, but they decided that they can't take down the near enemy without taking down the United States. So that's the great Satan. And American leftists are totally sympathetic to this cause, taking down the United States.
Just wondering, 2004, I think? Let me just double check. Yes, 2004 this was published. We go to the phones. Brooklyn, New York, you're first up.
I don't even know where to begin. But, when you keep repeating lies, I guess you really believe it's the truth. So let me start with some of your friends on the right. John Hagee, a minister on TV, who has the audacity to say that Christians flew the planes into the World Trade Center, and his whole seminary over there stands up and claps and cheers. That's anti-American. Your other friends on some of the other channels, these televangelists, who say that Democrats are the equivalent to Palestinians. Back to John Hagee, who says it's okay to be anti-Semitic. So don't tell me about Democrats. You, and I've seen what you do, you started a whole thing with Harvard, and you got the dean of Harvard fired. But you didn't have the manliness to stand up and say, hey, wait a minute, I started to do one thing and it backfired. You all should go to Iran because that's the type of country that you want.
Brooklyn?
This lady lives on another planet. I can't tell you how many times people from the far left begin by saying, I don't know where to begin. And then if you'll notice, and then call me a liar, and then don't speak to one specific, not one single specific thing that I said. It's hard to answer if people don't talk to what you're saying. I've never met John Hagee. I have no idea whether what this woman's saying is true or not. I seriously doubt it. I don't ever remember getting anybody fired at a university or calling for it, and certainly not a dean of Harvard. I think she's referring to Larry Summers. Mm-hmm. I'm a big defender of Larry Summers because Larry Summers, the forced resignation of Larry Summers symbolizes what's happened to our universities, the terrible intellectual debasement of our universities by the academic left. He was a man who, in a closed meeting, first of all, he's the most powerful university president in the history of the modern university, bar none. But he was forced to resign within 4 years because he crossed the left, and the final issue was his suggestion that women and men may have different aptitude for mathematics, which is pretty much a scientifically established fact. But this, one of the women, there were only 12 people in the room, it was closed, nobody would have ever heard of this, but one of the feminists there slammed her computer shut, stormed out of the room, went right to the press, and said that Larry said she wanted to throw up, and that Larry Summers was undermining the esteem of little girls. By what? Talking about a scientific fact. I mean, it's a scientific fact that, I don't know, Asians have a higher IQs than Caucasians like me. Do I slam my computer shut when somebody says that? Does that lower my self-esteem? No. So here we have anti-intellectual professors. There was also a university chancellor there who subsequently committed suicide. Denise Denton was part of this crew. These people have no business being in a university if that's their attitude towards intellectual knowledge. But the fact is that Larry Summers was forced to resign. He was replaced by a feminist. We'll see what she does. But anyway, this woman has that all wrong. I'm sure she has whatever she said about Hagee wrong, but I don't know the man.